Welcome fans and foes, viewers and haters. I'm your raging Canadian and here's today's review. Well, this is my first review for the year 2010, so let's take a look at a movie that's gotten a lot of Oscar buzz lately, Invictus. Invictus tells the story of Nelson Mandela, played by Morgan Freeman, entering his first year as president of South Africa and feeling that the country needs to be more united. Mandela decides that the key to bringing the country together is through their national rugby team, with the captain played by Matt Damon. The story itself revolves around the themes of prejudice between the black and white South Africans, which is just the thing that Mandela hopes to bring to an end and replace with unity. One of the first things you can see from the beginning is the use of what's presumably archive footage, with scenes of Morgan Freeman taking the role of Nelson Mandela, and leaves the viewer with the impression of realism. Morgan Freeman does a fantastic job as Mandela, and it's true that nobody else really could have been a better choice to play him. The accent, the body language, and the speech patterns, they all work in a very thorough interpretation of the character. A good handful of scenes talks and demonstrates Mandela's years in prison, where you're able to receive a great understanding of what he's seen in his life and what he wants to do to prevent it from happening again. Additionally, Matt Damon as the character Francois Pienaar is well portrayed. We can see in him a good sense of character, with a guy who has quite a heavy burden on his shoulders, but is able to know what he needs to do in order to make it work. The music of the film is chosen appropriately, with many songs fitting the scenes to a T. It holds a style that fits its surroundings and leaves the viewer with great enthusiasm. The movie's camera work decides to take chances, with a good handful of low-angle shots during the rugby scenes that gives great perspective for the audience. Aerial and landscape scenes also fit very nice in the movie's cinematography, but like the rugby action shots, it only comes seldomly. For the most part, the dialogue knows how to leave a mark, but by the end, the story was starting to gain speed and then all of a sudden slowed down too much. Clint Eastwood is the director of this film and shows great talent with it, but the tone starts to shift shortly before the end of the second act. Where the movie seemed like it was supposed to be about the country and its people being united, the direction has it feel much more about the rugby team by the third act. The theme of prejudice and discrimination is another subject that seems to fade prematurely. We gain a sense of unity with them before the climax, to the point where you're almost forgetting why they need to win the World Cup at all. I'm not saying that Clint Eastwood is a terrible director. I'm saying that the movement of the story was great, but by the end, the rugby team didn't really hang on to its original ground of being a device for improving the economy. In fact, by the end of the movie, the plot feels more like an underdog sports flick than it does about a nation's identity. Invictus carries some of the highest performances of Morgan Freeman and Matt Damon's careers and tells a great story about cultural differences and prevailing against the odds against you. The direction needed a bit tighter focus, but the end was still something delivered with high energy and a well-adapted screenplay. My rating for Invictus is an 8.5 out of 10.